During the month of April, what was the best performing asset? If you were to invest X amount of dollars on the first, where would it be on the very last day of that month? And in this video, I'm actually going to go over a select few assets and track their performance during the month of April, and then weigh the performance against my own personal algorithmic trading software to see if I beat other markets for the month of April. Without further ado, let's get straight to it. Welcome. If you're new to the channel, my name is Matt Jimenez. I'm an entrepreneur who has worked with the greatest minds in finance over the last several years, and I'm here to pour into you guys everything that they pour into me. When it comes to investing, there's so many vehicles to look at, and in this video, I want to go over a select few categories and weigh their performance against the Fed Bot from Nurp, which if you haven't been watching my journey, I'm tracking 50K right here in this video up above, where you could see how well it's been doing for me since I've started using the software. And I actually want to weigh the month of April's performance from this software against other assets and see where I would have gotten the best yield if I invested money on the very first and held it to the very end of April. Now, the different assets I like to go over are cryptocurrencies, commodities, equities, real estate. Now, enough of that, let's look at the charts. Okay, so here I have the chart of Bitcoin, and I'm going to use this handy tool to the far left. Go ahead and click this. What this is, if you don't know what it is a measuring instrument that you could place on charts to see how well it did from where you click it to where you drop it. For this video, as I said, we're going to track the month of April, so I'm just going to hover over the first candle, that is April 1st, which is this one here, and this candle close is right here. Okay, so from here to here is the full month of April on the Bitcoin chart here. I have the daily chart up for conveniences in being able to see all the candles and all the trading action. For the month of April, if I had invested in Bitcoin on the very first till the 30th, I would have actually lost 13%, 13.27% to be exact. That is a no-go for me when it comes to Bitcoin. Now let's go ahead and swing over to gold. When we're looking at gold, it has had a nice run as of late. Gold has been quite dormant. To see this price action, it's very comforting because I've been invested in gold for quite a while now. And there's been numerous times where I thought it was going to run because of certain turmoil in the economy, and it really didn't move. But now I'm actually starting to see the run, so it's been exciting actually. So swinging over to the 1st of April, which is this candle right here, and this was the candle close. Now if I drag and drop, this is the 30th of April, ironically. So you would have made 1.37% for the month of April. As you can see, it did have a nice swing up to the upside. I'm curious to see what that actually was, but unfortunately, by the time the month closed, it already gave back pretty much all of the gains that it made. Let's actually go ahead and track that swing here. About a 7% swing to the upside, and then ended up closing the month off pretty weak. Let's throw the oddball in there and look at the Dixie. This is the dollar index, and I find it quite interesting to always track because when you watch the dollar, you typically get insights on how it's going to do, because when you weigh all other assets, typically they're weighed in dollars. So you can actually see if we have dollar strength coming in, it'll typically reflect in the other asset prices that are weighed against dollars. So here we have the dollar index. Let's go ahead and track the month. Now, I like to do this because this shows me if I just left my money in my bank account and did nothing with it, did I actually gain or lose any of its value? All right, so this is April 1st right here at this candle close. And where is April 30th? Right here. Wow. So if I had just left my money in my bank account in dollars, that is, I actually would have done better than investing it in Bitcoin, ironically. Now let's swing over to the S&P 500. Now this chart, for some reason, freaks me out because it just is so relentless. Obviously, we know that it's heavily manipulated to continuously look like it's always doing good. You know, back in the day, we used to have a world where the economy reflected equities and markets. Now we have the complete decoupling of the economy being independent of the performance of the stock market. So, but yet we have all-time highs back to back in equities, which I find quite ironic. Now let's look for April 1st down to the 30th. Okay, so if you bought traditional equities, the S&P that is, you would have been down 3.92% for the month of April. So far, this being one of the worst performers. Over here, I have the Vanguard ETF, which is a real estate ETF. It's not the exact prices and overall market of real estate, but it does give us a nice gauge on where we are in real estate on average. So let's go ahead and grab our tool one more time. And then after this one, I want to get into looking at how my software did for the month of April and compare it. So here is the 1st of April. Let's bring it over to the 30th right here. So if you had your money in Vanguard or real estate, that is, chances are you did take a loss for the month of April of about 4.69%, almost 5%. This is the worst performing one, right next to the S&P. Now let's swing over to my software. All right, so here we are. This is my Fed Bot. And again, if you haven't been watching the series, here it is one more time up above. Go ahead and watch it. It is very interesting to see, but this video is not dedicated to that. It's strictly for the performance of April. For the month of April, we did 4.7% positive. This is definitely an amazing performing asset in comparison to all the other ones. As you can see, here are all the pairs that we traded during that time. And then over here are all the different average holding times for April. So the longest trade actually was the Aussie dollar, New Zealand dollar for 3 weeks. I've actually never seen anything like that. And then the risk to reward ratio, here we are. What I like about this software, it actually shows the risk to reward ratio for every single pair. And being that you have full sovereignty over this software, you could actually eliminate or add and critique what pairs you want to trade. So based off of charts like this and data like this, you could make your own educated decision to eliminate pairs or add pairs or double down on pairs and change the risk. The tool is for you to use. Of course, there are standard settings in which the software has been built around, but again, it's your software. You get to critique it however you'd like. So with information like this, it definitely is very beneficial to have, because now you can make these decisions to maybe even beat what the norm is. You know what they always say, challenge the norm, achieve the exceptional. So as you can see, the software was the #1 contender when it's weighed against all the others. And again, the most interesting part about all of this is, as you can see in a video I just made about uncorrelated assets right here, I highlight the utility of having a vehicle that can continue to make gains for you while there's blood in the markets. As you can see, traditional markets was down, Bitcoin was down, gold was barely doing anything, and the software still performed at 4.7%, almost 5%. As you can see, it's not correlated to stocks. I pulled the S&P 500 up and it was down a significant amount, and this was up, meaning it's completely uncorrelated. That is the power of having something that is uncorrelated in your portfolio. It has so much benefit, and it actually helps you mitigate risk. So if that interests you, just go ahead and hit the link down below. You'll be able to get access to find out more about this software, and if you want to potentially license one. Even if you don't, at least you get to enjoy these videos that I make for you every single week. So please hit the like button and subscribe. And if you want to see more, leave a comment down below. I'm willing to compare this exact software to any assets you guys are interested in. And like always, my friends, peace.